How's it going?
Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of Ether, our new segment. If you haven't already heard the Ether podcast, a process podcast family. This is how it's not so easy to memorize, huh, Greg?
Earlier, but I don't have it. Natural. Uh, it's a natural glycerin, but once it's mixed with the oils, it essentially like dissipates. Kind of like how when you cook with alcohol, you're not going to get drunk from the food. It burns out the alcohol. It's kind of that same concept.
That's interesting. I've never heard of this Castile soap.
And so I actually have been using it as like all body wash because I guess on the body it doesn't leave part of the shampoo on you. So usually when you use like the normal shampoos and stuff,
Yeah,
it will leave chemicals on your skin. So it won't allow your skin to produce natural oils.
You know what? I think I remember using this type of soap when I was like on that beard regimen.
Okay.
It's something that they recommended.
Probably.
Yeah,
But it comes as a concentrate, so you have to make sure to mix it with water or use a small amount of it.
yeah. First of all, Greg, what do you think about that? Do you think that's good or bad? Should there be more? Should it be 50%? What do you think on that?
Some people think that it's something that everyone needs to do, and I don't know. I think it's important for one factor of reproduction, of making sure we have enough people on Earth, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see it as something everyone needs to consistently do all the time. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? Elaborate a little bit.
So everyone makes it seem like sex is like super important to everyday life, which I don't really think it is.
Okay. Well, you have a kid, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that you know that the action of sex that brought you probably the best thing in your life? I'm just gonna go ahead and go off on a limb and assume that that's important, right? Um, but also, wouldn't you say that a relationship with a partner is not just about connecting with the person, but also at some level there's a physical aspect to it, and that's where sex comes in. And it's
Yeah.
there's a connect. There's two types of connections, right? It's the mental connection, I guess, the mind connection, and then there's the physical connection. And from what I've seen, most people tend to go for both. Now, I understand that it doesn't always happen, but for the most part, it's both. It's always a both mental and physical attraction that brings people together. And the act of sex, I think, kind of solidifies some relationships, although I've seen more and more with and not particularly just women, but also men. I think that sex is becoming a little bit undervalued. Like sometimes I see enough for them. Like, is it just the physical aspect that I don't know. What do you think about that?
I kind of think that things are too.
Want to imply the other. But
Granted, there are people who like that, and I understand, but I don't feel like that is a big number of people. I don't think it's a majority of people who prefer those kind of relationships.
Well, you know what, dude? I think that the social dating like Bumble and Tinder and Match.com and Farmers Only and Christians Only or Christians Mingle, whatever, those applications changed the game. They're normalizing casual sex.
The problem is I think they've gone too far now. Because if you go, you've more than likely not been on one or seen it, but it used to just be left and right, like swipe left and right. You like the person or not, and you could just do it until someone likes you. But now the platforms have all these other things where you can super like someone, and you can also pay for a service to see who's liked you. So you can go through these profiles and pick and choose almost. But then there's there's a paywall on it. So now are they really giving you people consistently, or they want you to pay for it to really get you to get matches? And so now it's become this like game for them that, okay, now I got to pay to get people who like me.
You know why? It's because it's a business. They have to grow. They have to make they have to incentivize your actions by, let's say, first of all, it used to be a free platform. Is it still free?
I mean, most of them are free, but I feel like to really actually be able to use it and meet people, you either have to be really good looking, or a girl, or you have to pay to really like communicate with people.
So if it's free, they probably give you a limit.
Yeah, you can like and dislike a certain amount of people a day.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I mean, in a business perspective, they need to grow. They need to say, you know what, if you want unlimited swipes or whatever, you got to pay. What is it, $10 a month? Like,
yeah,
is it $10?
I don't know. There's different pays.
Oh,
So
okay.
like they literally break it down from like a 3-hour boost thing to a one day you can see all the people who liked you, to a lifetime purchase thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just to me that's kind of takes away the concept of the reason we're here is to meet people. It's now the reason we're here is to pay to make sure we meet someone. So it's kind of that, on top of the whole kind of concept of it is just there to meet people to have sex kind of thing. Some of the apps have just turned into that, and it's just I feel like that phase has reached its peak, and people aren't using it as much anymore, and people aren't meeting people outside of that.
Yeah.
So no one's meeting each other.
Well, we have to take into account that COVID fucked everything up.
Yeah, that too.
Because before, I mean, most of our friends, and I say most of our friends because half of them are single, they were on the apps, and I used to see them date, like countless dates. Now, were they paying? I'm not so sure, but I would imagine they weren't. Well, what was your experience with this whole? Because I know that you've been on back and forth on it, and which one are you on? Christians maybe?
No.
Farmers only?
No, I've used Bumble. So I'll put it like this. I had this app that I could take surveys and get Google credit.
Sorry, Greg. We got our first caller, man.
Let's do it.
Call from
Robert.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello. Welcome to Thought Process Podcast. Ether. How's it going?
What is up? Thanks for answering my call.
Hey.
Hello, Robert.
Yeah,
who am I on the call with? Who's on?
Thank you for tuning in. It's just Greg and I. And
oh, hey, what's up, Greg?
How's it going?
Can you hear Greg or no?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay, perfect. So what's going on in your part of the world? What are you up to?
I don't know what the topic is today, but I kind of just had a question. I actually needed some advice.
Bring it on. Let's go.
All right, and this open discussion, so you can everybody can chime in.
Okay.
So I have a friend who messaged me the other day, and one of the comments was that he feels completely lost.
Completely what? I'm sorry?
He said, I feel lost.
Oh, lost.
That was his message, lost, L-O-S-T. And I didn't know how to like respond to him with good advice. Because I myself feel a little lost. I just don't normally message people that I feel lost.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those real private things for me, or at least I try to figure it out on my own.
Right.
But it was really cool of him to be vulnerable and let me know, like, hey, I just feel lost. And I wanted to give him like really good advice, and I don't think it's too late to give him advice. But I was wondering, like, well, if I had messaged you, Marco, or Greg, if I had messaged you, or you guys messaged each other, saying, "Hey, I just feel really lost," what would you guys say? What do you guys answer to someone or a friend like that? Or what do you guys think about being lost in life? And like having to find yourself, or what it takes to find yourself, or even just being lost. I don't know. I guess that's what it is. I just wanted to know. What do you guys think?
Okay. Well, first of all, I have good and bad news. The good news is that you're not alone. Everybody's fucking lost. That's just the reality of things. And
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people do know where they're at. They got lost. Like they're like, oh, I know what's up. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm working on. I know what's going on. But you know what do you think for those people, the ones who do not know?
Yeah, well,
Yep.
first of all, you need to be able to take a step back and really assess the situation. Like, what are you lost about? Is it a relationship? You don't know what to do. You're caught in between relationships. Is it work?
Mm,
Are you burned out? You need to
mm,
like write down the issue and really figure out where the issue's coming from. And
mm,
I'm not a therapist, and I don't claim to be a therapist, but from my own experience, every time I feel lost, I do just what that person did, which was reach out to somebody, and even when it feels like you're grasping at air, it's better to just reach up and admit it, feel a little, be vulnerable, and accept it, like, okay, I'm a little lost right now. Let me go ask somebody and see what they would do. Now, let's say that we have, that person has 10 friends, and they only reached out to one person, and that person may not be in the best place to say much, right? The next thing is, what is it, where am I going with this? Like, is it like, do they feel like, yeah, this is something that I would ask them if somebody came to me and said, hey, Marco, I'm feeling a little lost. And my first suggestion would be, okay, well, first of all, you need to figure out what is causing that. Like, what are you lost about? Why do you feel lost? Is it, like, again, is it personal issues? Is it work? Is it a relationship? Because then you can work up to, understanding the problem, and then in hopes to solve it. But if it's just a general feeling of being lost, I would consider, how old is this person? Because when I turned 30, I was really lost. Like, I thought I knew what life was about, and holy shit, was I wrong. I hit a wall, and I'm just climbing out of it. And now I am on a path where I'm like, okay, like, I was lost. I figured out where I'm at in life, and now I'm trying to figure out what is the next step. So a couple of things there. Number one, take a step back, regroup. Number two, assess the situation. Three, accept the situation. And after that, it's like, okay, well, gosh, I think that's it. Like, 3 4 is basically taking the step to get back to where you were. Or maybe, let's say that you find out that, oh man, like, this job is killing me, and for the longest time I didn't know what to do. Well, now you have a choice. Are you going to continue staying at this job, or are you going to move on? Is it a relationship that's bothering you? Like, is the relationship that you're in not the best relationship for you? Is that person not the best person for you? Is it working? And then go from there. What do you think, Greg?
I wanted to put it in a little bit of a literal term. So what happens when you're on a trip and you get lost? You just sit there and not try to figure it out? Or do you look at your directions and try to find your way back to something or somewhere that you need to be? So it takes work to get out of where you're lost from, to get back to where you need to be. So it's all about working on whatever the issue is and figuring out a way around that issue. Sometimes the way around the issue is not the easiest or the way you want to do it, but it's the only way that you can do it.
You know, I think it really comes down to just taking a step back and taking a breather and then seeing what it is. Are you scared of something? Is it, you know, are you fearful of the future? There's a lot. It's very, just lost is very vague. There's a lot in there. I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit. Obviously, you don't need to go into personal stuff, but
I think that those are two really good ways to attack the problem of being lost, if it were a problem. And I like Greg's version, which is logical, which is, well, if you're lost, you're traveling and you're lost, you find a way to get directions to where you were going. And I think if you're looking at being lost in life and a general purpose, then you would have to really question your purpose, your actual purpose, and why you are here. Maybe it's very existential, kind of lost. But yours, Marco, it's very specific but it actually might be true for this person, because I think this person is lost in very certain specific sections of their life where they have other things figured out, but not this one or this other 2-3 things, which are very important things too. So I think, just taking a step back and evaluating where you're at and where you're trying to go, I think would help. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, on the existential part, I recently had a big existential crisis. And it was because growing up, I was growing up with rose-colored glasses on. I thought things would just take care of themselves. And then when I actually, turned 30 and started to, really mature, as people say, your prefrontal cortex doesn't uh, fully develop until your late 20s. Well, I feel like I really went through that just like a year, 2 years ago. And when I hit that wall, I didn't know what was real. I didn't know what to do. So the one thing that helped me the most was, first of all, the support from friends and family, but also I had to go get therapy. I had to go through therapy to really understand what was going on, because for me, I really didn't have any idea. I didn't even know it was an existential crisis or um, fear and loathing of the future. Like I didn't know what it was until I went and searched up a professional who brought all these points to my attention, and slowly just it took a lot of work, a couple of years of therapy, and even now, like now I'm good. Like now I know why I'm here, and this is actually why we're doing this podcast, is to understand people, and because I feel like a lot of people are misunderstood in a sense. And sometimes people really don't know how to make people understand them, and it's particularly with things like existential crisis and things of this nature. Because let's say that I think this is something that happened to a lot of people through COVID really changed the perception of life for people. It was all like happy and pink and everything was good, and you were partying or whatever, you were working, maybe your career was good, and then when COVID hit, it really opened people's eyes to the reality of how fragile our existence really is. And so when it comes to that, to the existential, it's you just have to understand that everybody's going through it, and the best way to get over it is to, call a friend. I mean, most people over the age of 30 might already understand. Everybody has their own version. I have my own version. Greg probably went through his own. You, Robert, you've probably been through your own. It's something that we don't teach in school. I think it should be part of school. Like, honestly, I've been talking to my doctor, and I was telling them, hey, I think that therapy should be part of the school system, and he couldn't agree more, because therapy will not. It like people have like this misconception of what therapy is. It's like, oh, that guy's nuts. He needs to go to therapy, or that guy's emotionally unstable, and sometimes it's both. But therapy, what really helped me was how to think and understand basic life. And so, I think that I think first of all, I think you're a good friend for being there for your friend, and kind of I guess kind of being empathetic towards him, because again, the good news is that we've all been through it, and if you haven't been through it, you will, and it's inevitable.
So the other thing too is you say you don't want to give bad advice, which goes to show that you also care about the situation that's going on with said friend, because you feel like you don't want to say something incorrect to hurt them on top of whatever's hurting them at the time by them feeling lost. So I feel like that would be a natural thing for most people to not be able to give, or for most people to feel like they're not giving the best advice if something doesn't help their friend when they feel lost in any way, because now you feel like you failed in your endeavor to do so. But as long as you're giving sound advice, and you personally feel like it's a good path, or a good way of giving whatever kind of advice it is, then feel like it would help whoever you're talking to.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is that, like, just to use Greg's scenario, my friend is traveling and he got lost, and then he runs into somebody, be like, hey, do you know how I can get to so and so place? And that person that he asked is me, and I'm like, oh man, I don't even know where I'm at. So I can't help you.
Oh, man,
yeah, but
deep.
but if you sent him to the correct gas station and that,
but it's okay, because at least two people it would be better in numbers when we left.
yeah, you just try to send them in one direction that will more than likely be the right direction, and maybe the next person they ask pushes them right to where they need to be, and that's all it is. It's the ladder.
I think that's what I did. I encouraged to look for other places that might provide a better answer for being lost, and that was the best I could do at that moment. But yeah,
sometimes that's what it takes. I have a comment from JT. He says, to elaborate, once you figure what is blockading your life, you create small, manageable steps that you can do to overcome it. It's important to pace yourself to yourself, not others. And I think that's really, really good sound advice.
that is great.
Yeah, man.
Well, thanks guys for taking my call.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it.
Hopefully we get to talk to you in the next episode. Come on anytime.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Have a good one, Robert. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, bye.
So that comment from JT, actually, I feel like it's something that that I wasn't able to do back in school, and that's coming back to me now, is actually the concept of reading. Oh, I still to this day feel like I'm too slow of a reader, and I don't retain information from reading. Right.
Right.
So in school they would give you some book. I'm just gonna say To Kill a Mockingbird. It was a pretty common book everyone had to read in high school. And it's like, I don't know, let's just say there's 20 chapters in the book. So after so it's like you have to read like 2 chapters every week. And then you had some tests. It would probably take me 3 weeks to read 2 chapters. So even if I applied myself to it, I wouldn't be able to get it done in their speed. And it would always make me feel like I failed, so I would stop reading, and I hated reading, and then just chose not to do it anymore. But but I actually, whenever I pick up a book and decide to read it, I blast through a book.
Yeah.
When it's my choice to be able to do it, and I can do it at my pace. Like I read a 356-page book in a it's like 9 days. And it was the first book I read in like a year.
Yeah, it's really important to pace yourself because, we're always, and this is the problem with social media. It creates this false reality of things. It's like, oh, well, that person, they got married, they have a car, they have a career, but in reality, it may not always be like that. And we're always comparing ourselves to other people. And, I can't urge people enough to stop, take what you get from social media with a grain of salt. You don't really believe everything there.
Yeah.
Greg, we have a missed call. I'm just gonna try call him back and see what happens.
Okay. I didn't even hear it. Was it? It was probably during while we were talking.
Yeah. Hello. This is Marco with Thought Process Podcast. You're live on the air.
Oh, no way! Is this Love Line?
Love Line. Better than Love Line.
We can be the Love Line.
Oh, the Ether. Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard. You all have big dicks. Great.
Hey, what's going on in your part of the world?
We try not to brag.
Okay, I'm not targeted. Apparently, they're kicking me out of here because it's 10 minutes before close. And yeah, so that's very exciting.
That's rude of them.
What else is going on? That's it right now. Target. I was checking out speakers for my planned trip to San Diego, and just getting it done on a Wednesday night.
So what is this trip? What's going on in San Diego?
It's gonna be my birthday celebration. You may be the lucky one to join and partake. I have a suite booked. Drop some money. And yeah, it should have a pretty nice view with a nice pool. And I think spring break's in full effect. So a lot of people are going to be out. I saw a lot of
spring break. You got to be careful.
It's like the next Miami.
So you're going
to
the best place at the right time. Now, how do you feel about going out there and what do you have planned? I mean, are the clubs open? I don't really know San Diego.
I haven't even looked into it. I'm bad at planning, but I did book the room. The room is there tonight. It's a spacious suite. I think it should be 1,400 square feet, roughly. It should be good. We just need alcohol, a boombox, and massive amounts of drugs. And I think the party.
Boombox. I've never heard of a boombox. Do boomboxes exist anymore?
No, but on the real, yes. I haven't done my research on the downtown gas lamp scene. I've been there plenty before. I don't know. I haven't been there since COVID hit. I haven't been there in a couple of years now. So I don't know what to expect. I'm sure some of the pools are going to be open. The plan is to hit the Hard Rock pool. Hopefully that's open. Hopefully we don't have to social distance too much. But, a little bumping and grinding action on the pool wouldn't be too bad.
So let me ask
you. As long as you have a mask on, it's all good.
let me
if
ask
you
you
get
this.
lucky. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Mark.
maybe you get lucky. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So it's a balls to the wall weekend.
Yeah.
Anything goes.
Anything
And
goes.
do you have so you, like you said, you don't have much of a plan. So I mean, is this the first time that you've been out from after quarantine?
Yeah, no, to this degree, absolutely, first time. Yeah, and I haven't been to Vegas. I know plenty of people have gone to Vegas. I'm a recruiter for my profession, so I speak to a lot of different people, and I know plenty of people have gone to Vegas, and they've said it's not the same. Haven't tried that myself, but I suspect, just based off the room availability, that there's going to be quite a few people down there.
Yes, so there's actually going to be a lift on a lot of the rules.
Yeah, this going out quick, so I suspect that bars are going to start opening. I mean, people are already dining indoors. I think people, now that the vaccine is out, are getting more comfortable. We may be able to raw dog the air.
Spring break too.
Yeah, spring break is definitely going to be a rager. Now, I don't think I've ever been to San Diego during spring break, but
I have not. I've been
like
to San Diego during Comic-Con and those type of events, but not spring break. So I don't know what to expect, but it should be wild.
Well, extend the invite. We'll be there. Your favorite radio host will be there.
Hey,
I'll even be coming.
Can definitely partake and are more than welcome to join.
See, Greg, you don't need Bumble or Christians Mingle. You just need to go and party hard in San Diego.
That's right. It means a whale's vagina. It got lost in ancient scriptures long ago. I believe that's the direct translation. But yeah, we should be down there. You guys are more than welcome. Anybody from this radio station or this podcast, podcast is more than welcome to join. It should be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for calling in, man.
Hey, no problem. I saw the no caller ID. I was like, who is this at this time of night? I thought it was a booty call or something.
But it got you to pick up, didn't it?
Hey,
I pick up all my calls.
He's like,
I don't care who it is.
Who is this? Oh, who?
Even if it's a robocall, I'll still pick it up.
We take any call and give any call, baby.
Greg is wishing he gets a robocall.
He needs somebody to talk to. Don't we all during COVID?
Dude, we all do.
I needed it during COVID too.
I think we know now more than ever that we actually need to live in a social environment in order to keep our mental health and keep sane. You definitely need people around you.
You need to. That's human nature. You need people to talk to. You need people to congregate with. It's all about. I mean, what's best in life, huh? What do what is best in life? Is it money? What does money bring you? Attention? It's the same thing. It's like.
Well, I think it's like survival of the fittest too, and it's a little bit of that instinct. But I think a lot of men are driven by impressing women or finding that mate, right? You really want to. I mean, a lot of it is to be successful for yourself, but a lot of it is to attract the best partner.
Yeah, I was just talking to my friend today. We just went back to the gym, and he was telling me, like, in the middle of the workout, he says, "Man, this is my competition. I'm like the smallest person here," and he was feeling really bad about himself. I'm like, dude, it's like, don't feel bad about yourself. Yes, men are super competitive, especially nowadays with social media. Like we were just saying, social media is making people crazy competitive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's almost toxic.
All about competition.
Yeah, it's almost toxic, man. But what's that?
What'd you say?
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I couldn't hear you over the
I said that
teeny bopper pop song that's played in the background.
Oh, I said social media has made people, particularly men, more competitive.
Do you think more self-conscious as well?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, man. I mean, I used to go to the gym. Oh, and man, I was, I had a relationship for a long time, so it's not like I kept going to the gym and I started making it I had told myself a long time ago that's something I'll always implement as a regular routine regimen type thing in my life. And I was hoping never to get away from it. But with COVID and not being able to go to the gym, it kind of messed my routine up, right? So I also look at that as a little bit of the therapy, right? The gym is therapy for a lot of folks. It is an escape from reality. It is somewhere where you can zone out, just get in the zone, get in the groove, and do work. And of course, working out always makes people feel better. Just gets the juices flowing. It's all mental, and half of it is mental, or more than half.
That's right.
Yeah, and it makes you feel good, right? You see the progress, you see results, and you start feeling better and more confident. And I like that.
Yeah.
What I don't like is having that extra pouch or getting those COVID 20 pounds or COVID 10, COVID 15, COVID 20, wherever you're at this point.
The COVID
this whole year, this pandemic. It's time to get back.
Which is like, great.
I said the COVID 60 is more like it.
COVID 60. Damn.
I don't think I ate
Well,
any
for
better.
every 25 pounds that you gain, you probably should make at least 25K more a year to offset that, so that you're still attracting the right type of female. So just so you know, gentlemen, you start gaining weight, you better start making more money.
That's some solid advice right there, man. Hey, listen, man, thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate the support. We hope to get you on the next show here, but I'm getting the phone blown up, so I gotta take some other call. So, you know what?
Thanks for having me on.
Send me the date. Send me the date. Send me the addy, and we'll be there.
I will. Absolutely. You're in.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Definitely. Bye.
Have a good one.
Yeah, man, solid advice right there, man. You know, if you've gained 25 pounds, you better be making 25K extra.
Yeah.
Right, Greg?
Yeah, I need to be making a lot more money.
So Greg, I'm gonna dial back this number here.
All right.
So just hang on a second here.
Your call has been forwarded.
Oh, straight to voicemail.
I came with a great idea right as I heard the ringing. How have we not been able to customize our ring, like when someone's calling us? You know what I mean? Like instead of hearing ring, ring, like what if you just heard like 50 Cent rap? Like as you're sitting there with no, that was like we can change our ringtone so we don't hear it.
No, there was a service back like in 2008.
If you put someone on hold.
Yes, but also it was instead of it gave you an option. It would give you like something like, you know, to opt for music, press 1, and you press 1, you would be hearing like, you know, whatever was popular back then, like Exhibit or whatever, 50 Cent. And
I don't know, maybe it became a.
Yeah, look it up. I think. Oh man, I can't remember what it was called.
What is that called? The tone when you're calling someone? It's not called a
ringtone.
No, ringtone is
dial
when
tone.
you're being dialed.
Dial
All right, dial tone customization. So another thing I saw that was a little bit ironic this week was Kamala Harris, the vice president. She is going to be talking, or sorry, it says Kamala Harris to hold discussion with Bill Clinton on empowering women and girls.
You know what, dude? I give up. Life is not real. We live in the Matrix.
It's gotta be fake.
How is that possible? This is the biggest irony since shit, man. I can't even remember, dude. Are you sure
She couldn't
that's
have met with anyone a little bit more qualified to talk about this.
Are you sure that's real?
I've seen it in so many places
That
because
does not seem
it's
real.
gotten a lot of criticism.
Yeah, it's how are you gonna go to the one person who got caught having sex in the Oval Office? I
While
mean,
he was married.
dude, the cojones, right? Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can get this person back on the line. I'm gonna call them one more time. Here we go. Okay, I think this person might have gotten cold feet. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, this is the Ether podcast with Marco and Greg. We open up the lines 9 p.m. and onward every Wednesday night. You can call us at 657-223-5323. Again, that number is 657-223-5323. You know, we want to hear your story. We want to hear what's going on with you. You know, we're not therapists. We don't give any financial advice. We just like to talk to people so that we can learn and learn to understand people. And by doing so, maybe you will learn how to understand people yourself. Greg, where are we at? So if you guys want to follow us on all over the social media, we are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at TPP is loading. Again, that's at TPP is loading. You know, come say hi, slide into the DMs. You know, we're always open. We're very responsive. We love questions and we love input. You know, what kind of topics do you guys prefer that we talk about? You know, it really helps us shape the podcast when we have a little bit of the community pitching in ideas and what are your interests and how can we make this podcast better for you guys?
Yeah, throw us some DMs. Instagram is where I'm the most active for thought process. We're going to be posting things where we want to hear input. There's a UFC fight coming up. I'll be posting something later this week about it. We just want to see who you pick. Get a little bit more conversation going on with fun activities outside of just trying to think of new things and find new things. So UFC is a new world for me. I just started actually getting into it because my roommate and my neighbors are all into it. And it's a way to conversate, even if you're not necessarily interested in it. I'm not interested in UFC, but I'm interested in the banter going back and forth of who do you think is going to win. I wouldn't want to ever get into a ring, but I'm interested in the analysis behind it. And that's where I find my likeness for the sport.
So if you're new to UFC, this Saturday, right, Greg? The 27th, we have Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou. Two monsters, two heavyweight in the heavyweight division. I think that Francis has the more of the underdog, but not physically. Just from looking at it from the sports perspective, he's more of the underdog. But the guy is a monster. The guy is 34 years old. He's 6'3". He weighs 250 pounds of pure, absolute, silverback gorilla muscle. And we have Stipe, who is 38. He's a little older. He's also 6'3". He's 240 pounds, dude. That's crazy, Greg, dude. You know, I weighed myself today at the gym, and I came out at 202. I was like, holy shit!
Yeah,
The
I
heck?
weigh more than both of them.
What?
Wait, hold on. What did
So
hold on.
Francis Ngannou,
Uh-huh.
he weighs 250 pounds.
Yeah, I weigh more than both of them.
Holy shit, Greg.
I'm a heavyweight. Let's go.
How tall are you?
6 foot,
6 foot. Jeez. So where are you at right now?
260-ish.
Ish.
Like I'm like 258, 260 when I eat a big meal.
You know, like guys put on their Tinder profile, they're like, yeah, I'm like 5'11", but 6 foot, but they're really like 5'9".
I
I've been
haven't
in the shoes
updated
on.
my profile since high school. Sorry, I'm not lying. I just haven't gotten around to updating it.
Dude, for the longest time, like I used to put on my when I went to the DMV to get my ID card or my driver's license,
Mm-hmm.
I was putting like 5'11", but I'm really like 5'10". I'm like 5'10 and a half. I would say I would go with 5'10". I don't know. I was who am I kidding? You know?
Yeah. I always got scared that I would like give the wrong height or the wrong weight and it'd be like a wrong answer kind of thing. It's like I tell them I'm like 150 pounds and I'm really 160 and they diagnose me wrong.
You'd be like,
It always scared me.
or with with the police, you're like, no, sir, I swear, like, look, with my shoes, I'm 5'11" with my shoes on.
Yeah. There's also another fight that's going on that a lot of people are excited about. Usman and I'm probably gonna say his name wrong. Masvidal.
And Jorge Masvidal,
Yeah.
Street Jesus. Oh
Street
man,
Jesus? Is that his nickname?
yeah, he goes by Street.
Oh, I see it now. He totally looks like he could be Jesus.
You know, he started at I forget if it was the same one where Kimbo Slice started in the backyard fights.
Okay.
But he's been fighting his whole life, and I think that for the most part of his career, he's always been a killer, always, and he didn't really shine until he beat Ben Askren with that flying knee that went viral. I think it was like the fastest knockout in UFC history.
Oh, was he the one who did that?
Yeah, that's Jorge Masvidal.
And he was the one who went back and he tapped the ground.
Yeah, and then
And
he like
people were talking trash about him.
he flailed like a fish.
Okay.
That's
All
him.
right.
But see, he's always been a killer. He's always been like his career is full of like he's really well-rounded. He's a well-rounded fighter.
Yeah. That's one thing that that's one thing that I've discovered with the UFC is people from the outside, when we look at them, we see them do these things where like he kneed the guy in the face and some people thought it was kind of dirty that he celebrated after by like pounding the ground, laying down like a fish. But when he came back and he explained why he did all of that, he's like, the guy's been talking trash for weeks. He says that I suck and I come in and I knock him out in 2 seconds. And you think I can't trash talk back? Like,
look, dude.
Come on, we're here to fight. I won the fight. I can
The
celebrate.
problem with that is that people who are not in the game, they don't understand.
And most of these people respect each other too, because they see us like they're like to get up after a hit like that. Like it's not typical. If someone does it, I'm going to show them much more respect because I probably wouldn't have even gotten up. But if someone hit me like that,
Dude, he hit him so hard it sent his freaking head to the moon. He just put it into the ether, dude.
yeah,
He's out. Checo here on YouTube says the hype began when he knocked out Darren Till in the UK.
okay.
Yeah, so he was very underrated for most of his career, but now, I mean, let me see how old he is. Do you have it up?
No, I do not.
Let me see here.
Do not have their stats.
Oh,
It's kind of weird when I search that stuff on my computer. It's harder to find information than if I search it up on my phone. When I search on my phone gives me every breakdown. On the computer, it's like it doesn't. It just shows who's fighting, and that's about it.
So I think that did they already fight once? I think that this is going to be their second fight. I may be wrong here. But dude, Jorge Masvidal, he's a veteran. He's a veteran, dude. He's 35, 14-0. Kamaru Usman is 18-1-0. That's a serious record right there.
Did you know that Tekashi 6ix9ine is fighting too?
So for the people who are just listening, Greg was referring to Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean. Yeah, I think what's that?
He was discovered in a smaller league, right? And Dana White walked in and said, "Give this guy a contract," pretty much.
I'm not too familiar with them. I think that for the most part, he was overhyped. When Conor McGregor started to, have a little bit of beef between him and the UFC, they tried to bring this guy on thinking that he was going to be the next thing. And, when he started fighting against people in a higher level, it definitely showed that, he's still very inexperienced. I mean, obviously he's still pretty young.
His stats are 12-1. So, I mean, he's not been losing.
Yeah, but in terms of putting him,
she would still talking about with some of my buddies was if
70.
I think they measure it because this says her reach is 69.
Oh, dude, that's a good reach right there, dude.
But that doesn't sound correct.
No, dude. I think
she's tiny.
Well, I think she walks around at 145 for the fight. She weighs in at 1 for 5-10 minutes, and then they rehydrate and their weight goes up.
Well, even if let's say she's 145, 145 is tiny.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I say. I don't do most. What's what is the small their weight?
I believe,
and that would be what
he fought. I think he fought in 2 or 3.
Right.
So there's flyweight, lightweight. Oh man,
they come out in beach cruisers and ride down the street, or what?
Middleweight,
this picture on Wall Street.
But glad you're still with us. How is it on your part of the world? Can I just reply through one?
Yes, you can. If you next to where it says post a comment, you can click it and click a specific one. But yeah, I've been working on some art projects too. I'm doing a pixel art of a space gorilla that's coming soon.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to ask you to find a few images of things you think is kind of cool, and I'm gonna adjust it in my style, and hopefully we can come out with a cool concept for a shirt, and we can order them.
Yeah, so guys, gentlemen and gentlewomen, Greg and I are starting a new little side project with something called NFTs, or non-fungible tokens.
Yep.
And I think Greg has been doing a little bit more research on it. I kind of understand, and I grasp the concept of these NFTs, particularly in the artwork realm. But Greg, if you want to give people just a little bit of a background and a little bit more of context of what you've been working on, so that people can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about when we say NFTs. So
NFT, yeah, it's a non-fungible token. It's a way of authenticating originals. So it would almost be, in a way, for most people to understand, would almost be kind of like a copyright concept, but on digital items, or what people say assets. And so you could take a piece of art, and whatever it is, you can upload it, and they will do the non-fungible token, which encrypts it, and you can say there's only a certain amount. So you create this art project, and you want 20 of them to be the original copies. So you do a drop of 20 versions of them. They each have an individual address that is going to be shown that I created it, and that I am now selling or giving it to someone else. We'll continue this after.
Here we go.
Call from.
Woo.
To accept, press 1.
I didn't hear it.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us on Thought Process Podcast, the Ether version of the podcast. How are you doing?
man.
My pleasure.
How is it down over there? You're part of the world, sir.
Oh, it's great here. Good vibes as usual. You know, celebrating birthdays, drinking drinks.
Nice.
Good vibes.
Birthdays. Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Is it your birthday?
No.
it's mine.
Oh, happy birthday.
The most important
Thank
question.
you for joining us on today's live stream. You know, best wishes.
Our pleasure. So what are we talking about? What's the topic of today?
Oh man, we've been all over today. We've been talking about NFTs, the cryptocurrencies. We've been talking about the UFC fights coming up. We've been talking about a little bit about life.
So Kamala Harris.
Okay.
So take your pick.
Very broad topics.
Yeah, take your pick. Do you have anything? What you can do is you can share something very exciting, something exciting that happened to you this week or in the past few months, if you like.
Unfortunately, with all the quarantine stuff going on, nothing too exciting. I am excited to see you guys though, as soon as possible. But also the Ngannou fight, I'm pretty excited about.
Oh man, so who are you putting money on?
Oh man, it's hard,
Your boy?
dude. It's hard. It's so hard. I may actually end up not putting money on anyone because Ngannou's got that. He's got that firepower. He's got that knockout punch.
Yeah.
But Stipe, he's a champ for a reason. And in their last fight, he had some good takedowns, which kind of broke up Ngannou's rhythm.
Yeah.
And so, both of them have obviously improved since then. Ngannou has, I'm sure he's worked on his takedown defense since then. And he kind of knows how to react based on the last fight. But I don't know, man. It's like Stipe could go in and do his thing strategically, and Ngannou could land one hit, and one hit could be the end. So
Right.
I don't know, but I love Ngannou. He's a fellow African, just like me. So I fully support him, but I may just put money on Stipe. He's the champ.
The thing about this type of mixed martial arts is, when you have two people like that who not only are they talented, but they have some serious knockout power, anything can go, anything can happen. I mean, you've seen you've seen the Black Beast out there, right? Derek Lewis. The guy looks like he's eating like Popeyes and McDonald's for dinner every day, and he's literally just going through people.
Are you talking about the boxer?
What's that?
Are you talking about the boxer?
No, Derek Lewis. They call him
I
the
don't-
Black Beast. I think that he's the number 2 contender for. Is it the heavyweight? Yeah, I think he's the heavyweight,
Okay.
number 2 contender in the world right now. He doesn't look like he's supposed to be up there, but he's doing his thing. He's just going through people, and so that's the nature of the game.
You're right. You know, some of these guys don't look like they should be out there. I mean, look at DC. And I mean, look at his stature and look at his belly. But he was
I know.
He fucked a lot of people up.
I know. I mean, Stipe was one of them, right?
Stipe was one of them. Yes, the first time he got him,
Yeah.
and then the second time he took him to a boxing class, really, until I think his cardio, got shot or whatever. But
Yeah.
you look at DC and you don't think like, oh yeah, he's the champ. But yeah, looks can be deceptive.
Yeah, anything can go in the fighting world.
Exactly.
So, are you familiar with Francis? Yeah. Are you familiar with Francis at all?
Ngannou?
Yeah.
Well, not too much. I mean, I've seen some of his UFC stuff, and I do know he had a prior background in boxing. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's almost all I know. Now, one thing I do know for sure is how close he is with his mom. And, when I had Instagram, he had little pictures and videos here and there where he's back home and just chilling with his mom, in this like hot, very humble environment. And you can just see him having a good time just eating like those home cooked meals and going out and breaking rocks and stuff, seriously, so very much in touch with his roots.
Yeah.
And, I think that's one of the things that drives him, just trying to go out there and do better and, not for himself, but for his family, which really almost all the fighters do actually. But yeah, pretty motivated guy. He has a good story. He's come a long way.
Man, this drive that the guy has, right?
Yeah.
The drive. I mean, he came out of I don't know how you say this, Batier, Cameroon. Are you
yeah, I'm not sure. You know this more than I do actually.
It says
Cameroon.
It says Batier Cameroon or something like that.
Let's just go with that.
Yeah.
But it says that you're right. He started training in boxing despite the initial reluctance of his family, but after training for a year, he had to stop training, and then I don't know, some sort of illness or whatnot. It says here that he had various odd jobs to make ends meet until the age of 26. He decided to head to Paris, France, to pursue professional boxing.
That's right.
Man,
that's
so
right.
He had to like cross the border illegally like 7 times. Jeez, dude. And now, I mean, look, he's fighting the champ. He made it.
Exactly. That's crazy. I'm gonna try a maximum of once. If I'm trying to cross and it doesn't work once, I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should. Can I use that word? Maybe I should try something else. So yeah, props to him, for never giving up. And
Oh yeah, don't worry. We're not censored here. We're not playing that censorship.
All right.
If we get canceled, we made it.
F word, C words, everything.
Yeah, dude. It's just it's really crazy. It's really crazy. And dude, did you know that he speaks like 3 different languages?
I'm not surprised.
No.
I'm not surprised. So obviously he speaks French.
Yeah, French, English, and Nemba.
English.
His I guess the language from the eastern grassfields of the high plateau of Cameroon.
Yeah, I can actually relate to that because, as you know, Marco, I was born and raised in Ghana. And so back home, well, everyone speaks English, right? So that's a given. And then you speak the local language in whatever, like, language is mainly spoken in the city or town in which you live. And then you also speak the language that your parents speak. So if your parents, like, say, came from a certain part of the country to move to, like, the capital for work, you're going to speak what's in your surrounding area, and then you're going to speak what your parents speak. So it was very common where I came from to speak about 3 different languages, and they're all completely different languages where it's not like dialects where understanding one helps you understand the other. It's just completely different. So I can kind of relate to that to an extent, and it's for most Africans, that's usually the norm. because we have so many tribes. It's a very tribalistic place, and with each one is a different language.
Do you think that that's helped you at all? Just in your regular day-to-day life, where
Oh yeah,
having learned 3 languages and decipher them at an early age, has that helped you with like understanding people nowadays?
definitely a huge part, because usually when you have a completely different language, you're also dealing with a sort of different culture, different people, different values to an extent. And so, you really get to speak a language most of the times. In doing that, you get to know the people who speak that language. And so, having gone through that, I find it very easy to meet different people with completely different cultures. And I'm really comfortable and really accepting, because that kind of has been my reality since I was young. So it's helped a lot. It's really helped in acceptance, like I said before, and understanding, and just being open-minded, because you're just exposed to so much different stuff, and experiencing something different is now I view it as part of life and more of the norm, and it's something I really appreciate and embrace. So I think it's great. I think it helps with communication. It helps with acceptance. It makes us realize we're all different, yet we're all the same people ultimately.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really good point, because as a foreigner myself, having well, first of all, my first language was Spanish, and then learning English was kind of difficult, learning at an early age. Well, actually not so early, like 7 year old. I was like 6, 7, or 8 when I started really understanding English. But now it's really helped me communicate and navigate the social environment, because
For sure.
I can well, first of all, I can communicate with 2 different types of people, but also understand the that, again, like you said, the difference of people, but yet we're all the same in a way.
Exactly.
And this is just a fun fact. In Africa, there are more than 2,000 languages that are spoken. So imagine, man,
A lot.
dude. Like, how do you keep up?
Even in Ghana, where I'm from, like just one country, we have so many different languages. I understand maybe 3 of them. I speak 2 of them, but there are so many other ones that I have no idea. If someone could stand next to me and talk to someone else, and I would have no idea what they're saying. Just so different.
So you could possibly need like 4 translators wherever you go.
For translate.
Luckily, usually, like I said, you grow up knowing about 2, 3 languages. More often than not, even though we have so many languages, there are a few that are more popular than others, and so you're always going to communicate. And Ghana is, after all, an English-speaking country, and even those people who don't speak like the best English, we still have pidgin English, which is kind of the local twist on English. You kind of take the language and kind of make it your own, and everyone does that. So you could go anywhere, and you're for sure going to be able to communicate.
Oh, that's really interesting, man. See, with in the Hispanic community, Spanish varies, but it's more about the slang. But sometimes I just laugh at I laugh at some people try to speak English and they just butcher it. Like me, like it's like my second language, so I understand. But one time, dude, I was working at this warehouse, and the guy in Spanish, he thought I didn't speak Spanish, and I'm like, man, what is this guy trying to tell me? Well, he was saying, hey, where's the vaqueadora? I was like, what is a vaqueadora? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, what are you saying? And then it wasn't until I asked him in Spanish, I'm like, what do you need? oh, he said it in Spanish. He's like, oh, I just need a vacuum. I'm like, yeah, dude. I would if I didn't speak Spanish and I wasn't able to communicate with him and lead the conversation, I would have never been able to find out what he wanted to say. He was butchering the word like crazy. But but he tried, which was pretty. It was just funny, man. It just left me speechless.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Ultimately, it's interesting, but we just got to appreciate that he was trying. Like you said, he was making an effort on his part, which is kind of like the biggest thing nowadays, because really you see some people who, and not just in terms of language and understanding different cultures, but with other aspects of life, who just don't put in that effort. And so, props to whoever is putting in that effort in whatever aspect of their life, whether it's trying to communicate or just trying to make ends meet.
Yeah, I admire those people because they just don't give up.
Yep. So is Greg out there, man? I know I'm kind of talking, man. We've had some good drinks, good times over here. Elizabeth is here, Priscilla is here. They may also have different takes on the conversation that's going on here.
We might, but we also might not.
Bring them on.
Hey, as long as you recognize it. No, I'm just kidding. No, Greg was mentioning that today is National Cocktail Day. So cheers.
National what?
What was it, Greg?
National cocktail.
Don't get excited, sir.
Oh, you're doing that.
National Cocktail.
Oh, man.
A drink.
Oh, yeah, cocktail. Of course, yeah.
Oh man! So cheers on behalf of the Thought Process Podcast family. I'm actually I was supposed to make myself a cocktail, but I didn't have the time for it. So instead, I grabbed this mango white tea. Got it from Sprouts. It was really, really good. So cheers.
Wait. So you said you grabbed a mango white tea?
Yeah.
Yes.
From
all he had to do is put a little bit of alcohol in it, and it was
did you pour a little bit of rum or whiskey in it?
You know what, dude? I should have, and I regret it now because we're having a good time here, but unfortunately, I did not. But believe me, I promise that when I see you down there where you guys are at, we'll definitely have a copious amount of alcohols.
Well, it sounded like we're headed down there soon.
Prep, take some like milk, thistle, supplements or whatever. Come ready.
Hydrated.
Come ready because
no more Mardi Gras cakes, or I'm gonna be doing some dancing again.
Hey, that's over, right?
What?
We had a Mardi Gras cake when they came over. Do you remember that? Who doesn't remember? He's looking at me like I'm crazy.
Dude.
I did all your dishes that night.
We actually might post that up, dude. I have Greg dropping it low like no tomorrow.
I think I did the worm too.
Yeah, Greg did things there.
That was a good night.
That was back when we were in Escondido, right?
Yes.
That was a while ago, maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Somewhere around in the neighborhood of that.
Yeah, I think I'm recollecting some of these things, Usually when we're together, the drinks are heavy, among other things. So, yeah.
What else is heavy?
You don't need to know that part.
I'm going to put everything out there, okay?
Yeah, the luggage we're carrying is heavy. It's like, oh, here we go. Everybody pack your bags. We're going on a guilt trip.
Like LMFAO always said.
Yeah.
All right, Marco. Thanks so much for having us. We appreciate it. We could talk some more, but I'm sure there are other people trying to call in and chime in, and us drunk people will let you be. So at least let me speak for myself. You know, I cannot speak for Elizabeth and Priscilla, but I'm pretty gone. You know, I really went in on this cocktail day. I did not know, but I was ready. You know, I made it happen. So
Yeah. No, thank you so much for calling in, man. We really appreciate your input. I think that we brought up some good points, and we look forward to having you in the future. Shout out to the birthday girl.
Yeah, it was good talking to you.
Thank
Happy
you so
birthday.
for sure, man, for sure. Talking about the birthday girl, we just gotta. Can you do the shout out again, please?
Yeah, shout out to the birthday girl. Oh, what? Wait, 1 second, 1 second.
I was trying to do that and it didn't work by Unix. I have this app that kind of makes that sound. It's like, and I've been going ham all night, you know, partly because it's fun and partly because I'm faded. But you made that sound, dude. It's because I'm on the phone with you. It didn't work, but you made it happen, man. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Shout out to the birthday girl.
All right, Marco. All right, Greg. It's been a real pleasure, you know, talking to you guys. It's always a great experience, and I look forward to calling in for your next podcast.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good night.
All right, bye.
Oh man, those guys. It's always a fun time talking to them, huh?
Yes, it is. And that is very interesting. That I didn't think about the whole talking different languages helping you conversate, because when you're forced into having to try to understand someone, you're forced into a state of understanding, and you do start to work that muscle out of being able to understand people when you even if you don't know the words that are coming out of their mouth. When you do understand the words that are coming out of the mouth, you still sometimes have to piece them together. Like you said, he's trying to say vacuum in English, but he was messing it up so bad that you didn't know it wasn't in Spanish and it wasn't in English.
Yeah, dude, it was vaqueadora. I was like, what does that mean?
So now it does form this muscle in the back of your head, or wherever the muscle forms that gives you that.
You know where I noticed that it really helped? It wasn't until when I was started to work with a Vietnamese family, and I had to communicate sometimes with one of the nannies who, speaks Vietnamese, no English. But something I realized is that as much as we're different, like our recent guest just said, we are so alike that if you just be open to understanding what other people are saying, you'll most likely understand and understand where they're coming from and what they're trying to say. Like, I have no business speaking in Vietnamese, yet I am able to communicate with this person on a daily basis. Sometimes it's sign language, but sometimes that's what it takes. But if I was like uptight and I didn't put the effort into even just listening, sometimes people don't listen. It's not so much that we don't understand. It's sometimes we just don't listen, and we're not open into receiving new information.
Sometimes you just can't remember the information too, because you don't feel like it's relevant. I don't know if you watched that video I sent you this week that I said is a must watch. It was a video about how to remember things.
It was a TED Talk. Is that right?
Yes. So there's a TED Talk, and the guy puts up on a screen 10 words, and he tells you to memorize the 10 words. You have, I think he gave 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, memorize as many words as you can and write them down on a piece of paper after the 10 seconds.
Right.
So people try to write them down. They kind of show the cameras above people, and you can see typically people write down about 5 words. And I did the same thing. I wrote down 5 words. I think I got 3 of the 5 words correctly. But there were 10 words total. So I got 3 out of 10 words, which is not that good, but it's typical with everyone else because you got 10 seconds to remember 10 random words. Then he ran you through this exercise of a way to remember words by making a story based off of your body parts. So like start off at your feet and come up with some kind of story with the word that makes you remember it. Like something obnoxious. Say some elf shot you in the foot to remember the word elf.
Okay.
Like you're gonna remember that obnoxious story.
Right.
And then do the same thing with your knee. And then as you go through it, you just constantly go, okay, this part, this part, this part, and it puts the story together and allows you to remember more things in a quicker amount of time. And
what is that called?
What is what?
That
way of like thinking?
Yeah, no, well, the way of learning.
I'm not sure what the word is. I'm sure there's a type of word
here we
for
go.
that. I've been draining in so much information lately that so much of it is kind of it's kind of washing over my head, but it's putting that base foundation that, okay, I've heard this before. So the next time I come in, I'll be able to retain another piece of information on top of that old piece that I remembered. And that's my way of thinking right now, is just pull in all this information and stack it.
Yeah, you know, that method of learning is called mnemonic learning. It's
Mnemonic?
mnemonic, Mnemonic, and it's the story method, sometimes called the sentence mnemonic, is the most easily learned list mnemonic strategy. Although it is not widely known as the other simple methods, this one is pretty effective, is what I see here. Mnemonic. It's pretty interesting.
And that's an interesting thing that even that would be a good thing to put into schools. Like you said, some of the stuff that's lacking. It's like, I don't think most teachers wouldn't teach you a way to learn how to learn what they're teaching. Like there was a few teachers, like there's this method in math that I learned that other people don't know what I'm talking about. I believe it's called the dot method. So on every number, there's a certain amount of dots in a certain place on those numbers that you can count. So like 3, each dot is the end of the 3. So that's how you know you can count each of those. And that's how you know the number 3.
Right.
And it's I still use that to this day when I have to count things. And most people don't know what the heck that is. And like one of my history teachers taught me how to get people's attention. Like in class, it's like if you have a question, you're like, oh, me, and you just do this. And you just keep doing this until you're finally called. And he was a big stickler for, if your hand is in the air, I have seen that your hand's in the air. I know that you want to say something. But if I continue to talk and I don't call on you, or if I call on someone else while they're talking, put your hand down. When they're done talking, then put your hand back up. Because now you're drawing away from the conversation that's going on with this. Like no one needs to be distracted.
So Greg is referring to, for the people who are just listening to this podcast, he's referring to just raising your hand and flailing.
Yeah, flailing or keeping your hand up. Like it's the distraction that's taking away from the actual conversation that people are trying to learn from. Yeah. And there's a lot of that stuff that I don't feel like most teachers teach. And then there are those few who do teach. And that's what takes some people to the next level and then leaves some people behind, because some people will consistently get good teachers and some people will get one every other year or yada, yada, yada.
Well, this is the thing about learning. And it's something that I've been reflecting on it. In hindsight, just something that I've noticed, that it's not always necessarily the teacher's fault that they're not good teachers, but also people need to understand that people learn in different ways. Like I'm a very hands-on type of person. Like I may not be very textbook smart. I can't read a chapter and tell you exactly like what the plot of if it's a story or whatever. It'll take me some time to process it. But if you're showing me something like, you need to you need to put this hammer or whatever. Use this tool and use it this way. That's something that I can do. But when it comes to textbook, it's really, really difficult for me to understand things. And people were like that. Like sometimes, I mean, you know, we had A students in our class, and then we had the D's and F's. You know, and then, I mean, imagine like, if you have 30 kids in your class, like you can't expect all of them to understand the all of the important things that you're just blabbering about
Yeah.
in a period of 1 to 3 hours. Yeah, people learn differently. So and that's why I said therapy, particularly just critical thinking and really thinking and understanding how to think and process things should be taught in school at an early age, because if I had that, I probably would have been more advanced now.
So I think the only place you really learn critical thinking would be a math class, really.
Uh-huh.
And it's only one form of critical thinking, which is not that useful.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We have Checo saying, I prefer the thought method. I don't know if that's a joke or
that's what I was thinking, that maybe he's memeing us right now, but I'm like looking it up and I don't see anything. So it's starting to make me feel like he actually is memeing us.
Well, again, sometimes people learn in different ways.
Maybe he puts a word to the different thought that he knows, and it makes him remember, because I don't know. He's like, oh, I remember that thought. Oh, okay. And thought, THOT, as in like the girls on the internet who play games and show their boobs.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. So
you know what? I'm gonna look it up. I don't know what the actual definition of a thought.
So it's like people, let's say on Twitch, right? Twitch.tv. Someone is playing the most popular game, let's just say Among Us, but it just happens to be a girl, and she just so happens to have her boobs exposed as much as possible before being full nude. That's what you call a thought. It's like, you really have to have a shirt like that, and the camera like pointing like right at your boobs, and like your head's just like barely in the shot like this.
Yeah, Greg, you have to dumb it down for the apes listening to the podcast.
So it's the camera is pointed at their boobs.
No, not that. I mean like the actual what do you call it? The actual definition. Oh, look, we have a
call from
Sergio.
To accept, press 1.
Hello, sir. Thank you.
Dude.
And thank you for, calling in. You're live on the Thought Process podcast. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm in LA. What's going on, guys? What's up, Greg?
Be careful. I hope you have your written essay as to why you should be entering LA. Yeah, we can hear.
All right, cool.
What's new in LA?
I got Stipe. I was listening to Wu talk about Stipe and Ngannou. I got Stipe.
Really?
I think. Well, I don't know if he's gonna win, but I want him to win. So because he's getting a little. If you listen to him talk, he sounds like a geriatric, CTE patient. I kind of sense that he needs to take a break and just hang him up. So I hope he goes out on top. I think he needs to retire within the next 2 years.
So you have a little bit more experience with the UFC. You're an avid follower and a big fan of the UFC. Break down this fight for the people who are new to this.
Well, I think Wu gave a pretty good breakdown of the fight. They fought, I think it was 3 years ago, and this is the rematch. And Ngannou was riding that hype train back then, and I don't think he's lost since he lost to Stipe. And like Wu was saying, the other caller,
that Stipe did his thing. He took him down. He wrestled him. He did some ground and pound. And Ngannou just didn't have an answer. Now we have 3 years in the making for this rematch. And if Ngannou can defend the takedowns and keep it on the feet, I think he has a chance of knocking him out cold, because Daniel Cormier, DC, former 2-time lightweight and heavyweight champ, knocked out Stipe. So if he can knock him out, Ngannou can definitely knock him out.
Yeah,
put his lights out. Which I hope it's not the case, but you never know in this game, that game of fighting.
So the difference between DC and Ngannou is what? DC's what, 5'10"?
A foot and a half of height and a foot and a half of reach, and maybe like 10 pounds, maybe. Actually, I think DC might be heavier than Ngannou. I think he's a 260 sexy like Greg.
Stipe is 240 pounds, and Ngannou is 250.
Him and Greg.
So DC is 235. He walks around at 235.
Okay. He walks around at 235?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I think he's only like 5'10", but he's very compact. He's like a little butterball.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, he's had a big wrestling career.
Yeah, he was I think silver medalist in the Olympics.
Yeah, that's.
I know that
for what?
Olympics, and he placed. So yeah, he's definitely from that American wrestling pedigree.
Oh, wrestling.
And he learned how to throw some hands and became champion in 2 weight classes. So pretty impressive stuff.
Cool. Now, I want to go back a little bit to to LA. You said you're in LA. What's it like out there? Is it like
in LA?
Yeah.
You ever played Vice City?
Of course.
You remember all those people on the side of the road just yelling out obscenities? That's exactly what it's like. But not as clean.
Not as clean.
LA is like a very interesting place. I live there too, close to downtown and Westlake to be exact. I used to live there. And when people see LA on TV, you'll get that aerial shot of downtown area and the Hollywood Hills, and they'll get the skyline, the cityscape, and all that crap. Mm-hmm. But what people don't know is what's at ground level.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting.
It's
right? Yeah, it smells like the back gutter, urinal, and feces, and just trash and gum on the sidewalk. It's like walking on mud.
And all the windows are barred up, and it's.
If you ever walk in LA, take your shoes off before you come back home and light all those bitches hard.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Man, so that's some good reporting there. We have this caller on the ground giving us a live, what would you call it, Greg? A live description of the circumstances in LA.
I'm in the trenches. That's where I'm at.
In the trenches.
100%.
Hey, so I think that you also have a little bit of experience with this. So Greg was saying that all these thoughts on Bumble and Christian. I think, Greg, can you mention again? Well, what was it? Christians Mingle or
no?
Plenty of Fish.
I want to say that the thought, like where most people think of thoughts, is from like streaming things. So like video games, for example.
I think I can hear Marco a little bit better. I don't know if Greg's a little far further away from the mic or he's echoing. I can hear Marco good, but not Greg.
So Greg was saying something about that a thought is basically somebody who is considered to be promiscuous and provocative, particularly on the streaming platforms like Twitch.
Those are hoes, but
what's the difference?
Thought is an acronym that stands for thirsty hoe over there. So that's what thought is, an acronym.
Dude.
Yeah, that applies.
Today, dude, I had no idea.
And there's a lot of those. As far as the girls who are making revenue online, showing their goods to us boys over here, and some girls that are interested, those are legal. What would you call it? I'll say it nicely.
Sex worker?
Adult workers.
Yeah.
Those are adult workers.
So
I mean, I'm an adult worker too. I'm an adult and I go to work. Right?
what was that?
Adult entertainers, yeah. But that market's still playing out, so who knows what's gonna happen? They're probably gonna have to fill out what are those tax forms for the independent contractors? 1099.
1099.
No,
they need a 1099. Those bitches.
They get the 1069.
1069. Imagine, man, if we, oh man, imagine they get on that W2. Oh, dude, there will be a wave of women just going there. Like, oh, I get full benefits, and all I have to do is play video games and show my tits.
I mean, you know, people got to make a living, so.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. I think people will still pay. You know, all the simps in the world will still pay.
Yeah, for every thought, there's 5 simps. So. Yeah,
so,
I would never subscribe to any of those platforms, but that's just me.
So we had another caller earlier today. He mentioned something about, you know, men being more competitive in the dating realm. Do you have any input on that?
I actually think women are more competitive, and I think they have the edge on men. I think it's a very select few of men that are competitive, and they're getting all the results with women. But it's women are a lot smarter than men when it comes to, if you want to call it emotional intelligence. If that is such a thing, if you believe in that notion, I definitely think that women are more apt to manipulation and socializing with people. I think they're wired that way.
I do agree with you that women are more competitive with it. No, I agree on that part.
So Greg says that he agrees with your comment about women being more competitive than men, and I think we're all in agreement with that.
And my reason for that is if you look at Instagram, you look at the top influencers, if you want to call it that. Well, they are now influencers. The girls with the most following, the ones who are making it big, who are making an income out of this, these social media platforms, a lot of the women follow suit.
Yeah.
And they're competing for attention. You can say it's attention to men, attention for resources, attention for income, but they're good at it and they play it a lot better than the guys do. So they're competing for sure. It's just more subtle.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with you. And you know, we have a comment here that just made me crack up here. JT says that he's simp for Mr. Rogers. And I bet that it's a beautiful neighborhood over there.
I still want to know if he's covered in tattoos.
If you're going to be simp, is it simping if the person's deceased or what?
It's simping anyway.
Simping with what, Greg?
Simping is anyway, man, woman.
Oh, yeah. Anybody is a simp. Anybody can be a
simp.
So
is that like necrophilia or what?
No, you don't know what a simp is?
I do, but Mr. Rogers is dead. So be simp.
Nah, bro.
But
he's with Biggie, Tupac, Michael Jackson.
Is it still simping or are you a necrophiliac? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man, dude, whatever rose their boat, you know? Sometimes.
Yeah, whatever rose their boat. I'm not going to stand, you know, I'm not going to comment on that. Usually I'm on my haterade, but we're going to let that one slide.
But the rumor was that Mr. Rogers had full sleeves and his legs were all tattooed up. That's why he always wore pants and long sleeve shirts.
Wait,
I don't doubt it. I'm definitely getting sailor vibes from him.
And he never took his socks off.
Is that a theory or that's for sure?
That's the theory.
So we're spreading. I hope we're not spreading fake news, but you know, it's possible.
You know, we have to do our part in spreading misinformation out there. How else are we gonna make it on this entertainment business?
It's like they said in the news back in the 80s. If it bleeds, it leads. Bad publicity is good publicity. So
That's
thug
true,
life.
That's true. I know that's why I was telling one of the other callers, if we get canceled, I think that we made it.
I mean, I hope you guys don't get canceled because I like calling in, but yeah, we'll just roll with the punches.
Yeah. So Greg, how's it out there on that dating life?
It is not out there.
So Greg was telling me earlier today that he sent the line into the sea and he caught something. Luckily, it wasn't any of the STDs, but
glory, hallelujah!
But I'll let Greg explain it a little further about how this message went.
So my experience
on it.
My experience
is this Greg on the dating site?
Yeah,
yes.
Or Christians Mingle.
Okay. Let's go. I want to hear this.
It's Bumble. So every once in a while, it doesn't happen very often, someone sends a message. So typically,
probably when they're ovulating, but okay.
Typically, I see messages right away because I usually have my phone next to me. And so I saw the message. It was sent like 2 minutes earlier. So I respond with a very simple, like, nothing too crazy, nothing too boring kind of message. And nothing after that. Just silent. And I was just dude, why even send the first message if you're not even gonna like respond to the first message back?
But Greg, you gotta give the context of how it went down. You gotta explain it to people who are just listening to this podcast so that they can get the idea and the vibes. Okay.
There is no vibe. That's my point. There's nothing to explain. That was it. You get a message saying, hey, someone likes you. They say, hey, insert name here. How are you?
Hold on, but correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't been on Bumble in a couple of years. But so from my understanding with Bumble, the women are the ones who reach out to you first. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're swiping right is for like, and you swipe left if you don't like the person, or if you just, if you're uninterested. So in order to establish any type of contact, you have to swipe right, and the other person swipes right, correct?
Yes.
So then she sent you something. Somebody that you matched with sent you a message, and then you responded and she didn't reply?
Correct.
So what did she say?
The message was a very simple, like, hey, Greg, how are you?
And then you said what?
I said hi with the person's name. And then I said, I'm doing well, or I'm doing good. How is your night been going? Very simple, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. Okay, but a little boring, but nothing wrong with that.
It's the first response back. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I just shotgunned like 6 monsters and I'm ready to go shoot a deer and ride a moon.
I'll get into it. How long did you wait to respond?
It was like 2 minutes. It was the moment I saw the message.
There lies the problem.
Greg,
that doesn't even make any sense.
What time was it when you got the message, first of all?
It was like 3 o'clock.
In the afternoon?
Yeah.
Oh, if it's 3 o'clock, dude, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. You know what she wanted. All you needed to do was send her that emoji we talked about.
So I should do the opposite of what I've been doing now and just like go straight into it. Just be like, you're cute. Let's get it.
No. So you should have waited. Okay. Cute, so Greg, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Don't get discouraged.
What do you mean? My number is like
80% of the women that reach out to you on any dating platform, or even outside of dating platform, just in like real carbon life, they're gonna ghost you for no reason.
They're bots.
Either or bot. Yeah, or that. Either they just weren't feeling it. Their kids, if they have kids, their kids needed attention. Their dogs, their cat moms, just something, man. Don't take it personal. It's just a numbers game. It's gonna happen. It happens to every single guy. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It's just the nature of women. They're fickle. They're fickle-minded. What I mean is,
I
they change their
understand
mind every 5 freaking minutes, and it's just part of the game. I've learned that from numerous encounters with I don't even know how many chicks.
The encounter is too similar to be. Well, no, it's not discouraging. It just doesn't make much sense.
Like crazy, bro, and hopefully you get some matches, and then just go from there.
That's why the whole bot thing would make more sense, because it's like one message sent and nothing past that. Like, you can't determine someone's boring off of the first message of hi back.
So,
like, I can understand if the message is literally hi to me and then I respond hi and don't say anything.
So let me tell you something, Greg. The reason why, and this is just my theory, the reason why you didn't get a message back was because she has 100 other dudes she messaged, and you're the one that said, "Hello, how is your night going?" While the other guys sent the eggplant emoji.
So you're telling me next time send the eggplant emoji.
I'm telling you.
Well, I think that girl would have been better off on Tinder then.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she doesn't have her priorities straight. You don't want that kind of girl.
Wasting Greg's poor time like that. How dare she? Shame on her. Shame.
You know, Greg, we gotta get a soundboard with shame on it. Game of Thrones?
You don't get any copyright infringement from Game of Thrones.
Oh, I know, dude. But yeah,
Greg, hire a dating coach, man. Get out there. Oh, actually, this is what I wanted to bring up, boys.
Okay.
To all you youngins out there listening, or even old guys, whatever, that feel like they've lost their mojo. I'm no Brad Pitt. I'm no George Clooney, but I've learned some things. And, I've talked to a lot of my peers, and sometimes we get down in the slumps like any normal human being, and our confidence is teeters, right, as men.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you get your fucking confidence up and how the rejections start not even affecting you with women or just in general? Work out, eat well, and get your cake up and take up a hobby that you really like and get good at it. And your confidence just starts building. It snowballs.
Eat to meat.
Just honestly, get your cake up. I know it sounds materialistic, but make money, not for a material standpoint, but you start to take care of yourself, take care of your skin, work out, eat well, take up a hobby. I just started skating. I landed my first pop shove it today. I feel like $1 million. I feel like I can go ask out freaking Ariana Grande, and if she rejects me, so what? Just fucking get out there. You just got to build momentum as guys, and rejection is part of the game. As soon as you can get past rejection and no, and getting ghosted and not worrying about what they're going to say, you've won the game. Somebody's going to stick. Some girls got to stick around.
Yep.
Yeah, Greg, how many other people have swiped or have you swiped on in the past? Let's start from this year. So since January 1st to now today, March 24th, how many people have gotten caught in the net?
Maybe like 3.
So like our caller here said, it's a numbers game. You need to be out there, on a fishing boat,
I must start walking the beach.
Creating environmental health hazards for humankind, and just take what you can get. Take what you can get. Filter through them later. That's basically what you got to do.
Yeah, it'll come eventually.
I say, get your money right, get your money straight, get your finances in order. Hire a dating coach. Start hitting the gym. Take a year off. Just invest into yourself, and in a year, hit the dating market being a better version of yourself. I know that sounds kind of like Will Smith Hitch and a little cliche like The Secret, but I mean, it's worked for me, and it's worked for the guys that I know put in the work. You got to put in the work, just like with anything. You want to find a girl, you got to put in the work. And these girls out here is a dangerous game, man. I'm telling you, you got to be ready. You got to be on your fucking A game.
It ain't safe. It ain't safe.
So only fallacy I found in that statement. I mean, I agree with everything except for Will Smith. Poor man. The guy got done dirty. It doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter if you're Will Smith or not. You can.
This is true. This is true. I was actually just listening to a podcast about this. That's funny you mentioned that.
Right.
But what do you guys think about that? That's a very interesting topic. It was. Do you know the deets, or do you want me to give you the little rundown of what happened? Or because actually I'm very nosy about his situation. So.
I think that you would probably know it better than I do.
Okay, so this was a few years back. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, one of the African American power couples in Hollywood to date. So what happened is that Jada Pinkett Smith had, and I quote, entanglement with another musical artist that is probably, at the time, 25 years her senior. So this guy was he is a musician. His name's August Alsina. He actually has some pretty dope songs. I accidentally saved one of his songs on my Spotify playlist, and I'm thinking about deleting it because I'm totally on Will Smith's side. Anyway,
Was he not also the daughter's friend? Isn't that how they met? Because
it was either the daughters or the son, because they're both musicians, right? So this guy came to them because he is an alcoholic and a drug addict. And you know how the Smiths are with their whole Scientology thing. They try to help people out. And
whoa.
Yeah, wait a second. Scientology.
You're in the Scientology church?
Aren't they?
No.
Or am I mistaken?
I don't think so.
If you can fact check me on that, I think they are. But if you can do like a quick Google search.
Yeah, we're looking. Well,
but anyways, in the time that you sorry, go on, Marco. Sorry.
It says here
I'm going on a tangent.
It says here that they have long denied allegations that they are members of the Church of Scientology.
Okay. Well, shoot. Well, anyways, they're kind of outstanding citizens of their culture.
Yeah. Well, even if, although they deny it, doesn't mean that it's necessarily. I mean, it could be that it is true. They just deny it. So
I don't know why I thought that. I think when I Am Legend came out, there was something in the paper that I remember reading about him in Scientology, but
probably Tom Cruise.
My memory is not the best.
Oh,
so,
no worries. So go back to your point.
My point is, well, I'm going to get to it. So she ends up sleeping with this guy, right? For a while. While her entanglement.
Allegedly.
Said, I slept with him. She just called it an entanglement. But they were basically together while her and her husband, Will Smith, were on a break. Even though they were married, they were on a break. Mm-hmm. But somebody made a really great, interesting breakdown of the video on YouTube. If you guys want to look it up, it's the guy's name is. Am I allowed to give shout outs on YouTube or no?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, go for it.
His name is shoot. What's his name? Kevin. Give me a second.
Not Kevin Bacon.
Hopefully not Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Samuels. That's his name. Kevin Samuels.
Hopefully not Kevin Spacey.
No. That would be weird. Kevin Samuels, he gives a breakdown in his YouTube videos called "Do Women Even Want to Be Married?" And basically the whole synopsis of this whole breakdown of Jada and Will Smith is that if she can't be happy with Will Smith, then nobody can make her happy. And that carries on to every single woman, because the modern woman in this day and age, she could be a 6 or a 7. In their minds, they're 9s and 10s, and they think they all deserve Will Smith, but they don't. So there's something wrong in the psyche of the modern female. And but that's a whole new thing. That was the breakdown, basically. Like, if she can't be happy with Will Smith, dude, ain't nobody gonna make her happy, you know?
Yeah.
But you guys give me your thoughts on that. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit too much of a deep rabbit hole.
When it comes to that, I think that the comment that they made is on point. And this is the way I think about it. Like, if you can't be happy with yourself, you can't expect other people to make you happy. And that's basically the point, right?
100%. And he actually said that too. That was also one of his other main points, Kevin Samuels, is that because during they call it the red table talk, when she was giving her whole entanglement speech as to why she did it, and she was saying how, oh, I just needed to be happy. And it's exactly what he said. And then Kevin Samuels says, if you can't be happy with yourself or look within yourself to find happiness, you're not going to find it, because it's up to you. You can't find it outside. And she said, I found happiness with August. And it's like, well, the same thing is going to happen when he's not going to be able to provide that happiness for you anymore. You're just going to get entangled with somebody else. So,
And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that conversation in front of Will Smith?
Yep.
Yeah, they had it on her show, The Red Table Talk. Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
Man, that's brutal.
And
like, how do you do the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air like that? Oh,
what's up?
I said, how do you do the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air dirty like that?
That's what,
That's crazy. So
I have an issue with the way modern women their psyches are, they're being influenced by other forces greater than themselves. I think it's a cultural thing that's going on. And, obviously I'm not no statistician or sociologist or anything like that. So I'm going to stay in my lane and just kind of keep it at that.
Well, see, I'm going to bring up a different point. It doesn't necessarily have to do with this, but it's the way that people think. So it's like, my son is growing up only knowing his mom and dad living in two different places. I grew up only knowing my two parents in the same place. So when we call things normal, some people have never seen normal and don't understand it. And so if we bring that kind of concept back to relationships, some people don't see relationships as the same thing as someone else, because they've never seen that kind of relationship, and they're not interested in that because of how they've been raised, the typical things that they like because of their experiences they've had in life.
Yeah,
you understand what I mean by that?
Compass.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's values and moral compass points a different way.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, Greg was cutting out a little bit. I heard some of what he said. But if you can kind of just give me the little spark notes, Marco. I heard, Greg, that, you and your son have different perceptions of what normal is with growing up with, different situations of your parents. Is that, did I hear that correct?
Yeah. But, so to bring it back into the dating and relationships with other partners, he mentioned that, people have different definitions of a relationship and how it's supposed to work. So, like I said, if people have different values, moral compass, and so that definitely influences and it actually really influences their actions. So for somebody who's very straight edged, who would never cheat, maybe Jada didn't think it like that. It was more about her selfish needs rather than putting the other person, before her in her priority list. So, yeah, I mean, I think people are different in that way, of course. But I think what Serge was saying is that it seems to be a cultural shift, and it's happening more and more because they're being influenced by a bigger, I don't know what it is. I mean, what do you think it is? Like, just
in my personal opinion and what I'm seeing and the kind of stuff that I see online and that I see in my normal life, And there's nothing wrong with it, and I think it's good because society is unraveling in a different way in the States. Well, I'm just going to speak for California, is that women have, they've been liberated, and the whole dynamic of the nuclear family is shifting, you know? You have more kids growing up in single parent households than you did, you know, maybe 70, 60 years ago. And, you know, people, not just women, men and women are having more partners, romantic partners throughout life, and that's being normalized as well. You know, when I was younger, my parents and all their peers, so like my aunts and uncles, their friends, the neighbors, you know, everyone was kind of together. You know, you had your female and your male, and, you know, whether it was a good marriage or not a good marriage, people were together and they had kids. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, I'm 30, and I think only like a handful of my friends have kids. And if they do have kids, half of them are married and half of them are not. So it's just like a cultural shift. I don't think it's good or bad. I can't really speak to that because I don't think it's soon enough to be able to tell what's going on. But it's definitely a major cultural shift in what's going on with, you know, here in the States, specifically California. It's just different, you know?
Right. Yeah, I don't think that we've seen the ramifications of, you know, the dismantling of the nuclear family, whether it's been, if it's a nefarious doing or if it's more of a, you know, just influence of the social media. I think social media is always a big one in these types of topics. I think that a lot of people get their information and their programming there. It's kind of like what sticks, you know. It's people are always looking at they're trying to look over the fence to find a greener grass. But once they're there, they realize, oh, it's not. It's the same green grass, and onto the next fence.
Yeah, I think that's the question. I'm happy you brought that up. I kind of just had an epiphany right now. I think that's the question as far as relationships and building a relationship or marriage for our generation is, you know, with social media, I'll just give this brief analogy and then see what you guys think. Back then, you grew up in your town. We didn't have social media, and your options were the people in your town, the people that you went to school with, the people in your job. It was very small market, you know. Mm-hmm. Now, with social media and with people moving around in many places and not really staying where they grew up, that pool of potential partners has been exponentially grown. You know, you can get on Tinder, you can get on Bumble, and you can see people from everywhere. Right. Essentially, you can your fishing net for potential partners has grown exponentially, and you can catch as many people. But so if you're unhappy in your relationship, you can, like you said, the grass is greener. And I think that's what the people in our generation are always like thinking. And I'm guilty of this too, that thinking that the grass is greener, and then you might miss on the opportunity to build a life with somebody who really might just work with you. It's going to be shit with anybody. Life is fucking hard, and marriage, from what I've seen through my parents and the people in my family, it's a job. It's a job, 100%. And
it's a full-time job.
I think it's a full-time job, yeah. And I think our generation has kind of just lost sight of that. And like as you mentioned, it's always just grass is greener on the other side. But it may be for a very brief amount of time, but we're always just swiping on right to the next person. I think that goes for people in jobs too. I think it's just our generation thing. So it's millennials. I think that's a big thing that we're going to have to face. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I think that as people get older, like the next generation gets older, I think that eventually they'll realize it. You know, they say that the older you get, the more conservative you get. So I don't know if that's going to be hold true to most people. I've seen it a little bit with myself. Now, I'm not talking about political, like in a political way. Conservative,
Mhm.
I mean, like, your values in terms
Yeah.
of like what's acceptable and what's not. But I think that the as the people grow and they understand what's important in life, I think that the shift will correct itself.
Mhm.
And because like nowadays, it's like, yeah, you can have $1 billion, but if you have no one to share it with, like life is still shitty. It's really about relationships in my point of view, my perspective. It's really about
Yeah.
relationships, and if you don't have relationships and good relationships, then nothing in the world is going to fill that void, because that's just human nature.
Yep.
Yeah, what I'm seeing online a lot, and what I'm also seeing in my day-to-day life, like in work and people that I talk to, is that a lot of people are okay with being alone. They're opting out of relationships. They're like, yeah, I'm okay being alone, and they have this slogan that I came into the world alone and I'll die alone. But really, you didn't really come alone into the world. There's people that were there to bring you, like the doctor, the nurses, the midwife, whatever that's called.
The mother you literally came out of.
With that
And the sister
privilege, with that privilege,
Yeah.
and you
The
want
wife's
to have
boyfriend.
people by your side. I can only imagine that. As me personally, I would want to have people next to me when I'm gonna die. Yeah, I'm gonna die alone. Obviously, I'm not taking anybody with me, but I would like for my loved ones, and if I would ever be so lucky to have a wife, to be there holding her hand. If I'm blessed with that opportunity, just to make it more comforting. So that whole nihilistic thing that people say, oh, yeah, I'm okay with being alone. Like I came into this world alone, and I'll die alone. To me, I don't think people have really thought that through. And I used to think like that too when I was in my mid-20s, and I think it's baloney. To be honest with
you know
you.
what I think it is? I think that those people have not truly been alone. And it's not until you're
Yeah.
really alone that you feel the void and the emptiness growing inside you, that you realize you're like, man, I really miss my friends. Oh man, I hated going to my family's parties, but now I really want to go. Like, and
Yeah,
I think that's what I think those are the changes that I expect to see in the future generations. Because right now, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of kids on their phones, not paying attention, not really being there. They're not really there. Like, you bring them along, but they're not really there in the moment, enjoying like the conversation, or even eavesdropping on your parents, on their parents' conversations. Um, and I think it's going to affect them in the future. I think that being so disconnected from people is definitely going to have a big impact on them.
Well, I've seen that too. I hope. I don't know. I think it's a lot of parents. I don't think kids should have phones until they're like 18. To be honest with you, I think that's effing us up.
Yeah, because they're using it for entertainment only.
What's that, Greg?
They're not using it as a tool like we talk about. They're using it as entertainment. He uses my phone, but
I mean, it's
I
tough.
require him to ask me the right way. If he just comes up and tries to take it, I take it back.
Yeah, it's tough though. That's like a whole different rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man. Thank you so much for calling in. I think that we had a great conversation. Do you have any other points you would like to discuss before we shut down the show?
My cup is full. I can go to sleep happy for the day. I appreciate you guys' time.
Awesome, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. Perhaps we'll see you in the future.
Let all your people and friends know they can call in.
And keep yourself safe out there. Make sure you Lysol your feet before you get home. And that's that.
Thank you guys. Greg, keep swiping right, homie. Stay strong, brother.
I'll always swipe right on you.
Ditto. Good night, guys. Thank you so
All
much.
right, have a good
Thank
night.
you. Have a good night.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Oh man. So Greg, that conversation went down a deep rabbit hole, and that's what this podcast is about. It's about talking about the reality of life and how other people have different walks in life. Their journey's different. It looks different, but at the end of it all, it's all the same. People are literally the same. Like you just open your eyes, you'll see it. And so, any final thoughts on today's episode?
Nah, just follow us on all the social medias. We're most active on Instagram. You can check us out. When we go live, we always post something. I'll be posting up some more interactive Instagram posts. Like we have the UFC fight coming up, so we want to hear who you're picking for wins, stuff like that. I'm posting things like today was cocktail or National Cocktail Day. So that. Just go on Instagram, send us DMs for any type of conversations you want to hear us research or talk about. And you can call us on Wednesdays after 9 p.m. We turn the phone on and we take calls and hit us up. We got Teespring in the comments. Has a couple pieces of merchandise in there. If you guys want to check that out, we're going to be adding to it. Have a few art pieces coming out, and we'll see how it expands.
There's a lot of things in the oven right now. We can't wait. We can't wait to share it with you guys. Again, today's episode, this is for the Ether podcast, which is also a part of the Thought Process podcast that we regularly do every Thursday. I think this week we'll do it Friday. We will be having a medium of sorts, and I think that we covered all our bases. Thank you guys for joining us. We hope to see you guys next week.
Appreciate you. We're out.